Well, hello, people. So, like I said, I get you caught up to where I've been, what I've done, who I've diddled, since I kind of disappeared from YouTube for a while. So, let's get started on that. Let's roll the clock back to about May of 2022, about a little over 4 years ago. Um, Things were going pretty good for me. I mean, I was working a lot of hours at work. I had just put a new roof on my house, paid off some debts, starting financial recover, was doing really good. I mean, I was putting in like 50, 60-hour weeks at work, um, 6 days a week. I mean, doing pretty good. Had no life, but doing pretty good. And I decided, hey, let's mess all that up with a gender transition. And that's exactly what I did. May 10th, 2022 was my first dose of HRT. Now, if you're looking back and saying, hey, wait a minute, Persephone, 2022? You've been telling us you're transgender a lot longer than that. I have. You're absolutely right. It's just that I did not quite have the financial means to transition. Didn't have it. Um, didn't have for a while. Didn't have insurance, or didn't have good enough insurance, or didn't have a good enough job. So I come here, you. This is my kitty. Her name's Duchess. Anyways, but I did not have the financial means to transition, or like I said, um, didn't have good enough insurance, good enough job. Just, I mean, at that point, everything was in place. Biggest problem for me was I was 45 then. Yeah, I know. I'm a lot. I'm a lot older than I actually look. I'm 49 now. Um, but regardless, I took my first dose of HRT and didn't look back. And along with that, because I was a welder, and it's not like I men who weld and women who weld wear anything different from each other. Not really. So, like, I didn't say anything to my boss. I didn't say anything to any of my coworkers at the time. I just started to take an HRT, and my general attitude toward it was, okay, I'm not going to say anything, and one day I'm going to show up with a pair of tits, and that's going to be everybody else's problem. Now, as it was, I've been dyeing my hair odd colors for years, and I didn't hide any of that. I When I got this job, when I got this job that I had at the time, I I was already being pretty unapologetic about who and what I am. I didn't say anything about being transgender, but I was just being me. I was just me being me. That was it. Didn't try to mask, didn't try to hide anything. Just went about my day. Mostly kept to myself. I know there was rumors going around about me. Of course, people trying to say shit like I'm gay or whatever. Oh well, don't care. Um, don't really give a shit. So, fast forward to about 6 months later, my boobs are hurting. They're growing. And, I'm like, okay, I got to do something. Started wearing a sports bra to work. And again, nobody did anything. Nobody said anything. A few months down the line is when some laws changed in Florida, and I couldn't update the gender marker on my license anymore. I think that was about 2023 that started. I remember, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2023 that started. Also, that was around when Florida started getting a little crazy with some of the laws regarding transgender people, and they started making it very difficult for me to get HRT. Um, this was like getting around my 1 year anniversary, is when the laws started getting crazy in Florida. So I started talking to my partner then. By the way, I'm still with the same partner I've always had. She's in the other room. We've been together 19 years. Anyways, back to the story. Um, yeah. We started getting the idea then that maybe we don't need to be in Florida anymore. So I started looking then into moving to another state, particularly where I ended up. We'll get to. as time went on at work, I'm just living unapologetically as myself, living my life. Around the same time I started growing boobs is when I started, at least when I wasn't at work, when I had a little bit more freedom or whatever I want without the worry of it catching on fire, or just flat out ruining it because, you know, I work in an environment that ruins clothing. Like this shirt I'm wearing, I love this shirt, but I would never wear it to work. Never, ever, ever, ever. And it's not because it's got transgender flag on it and a transgender cartoon character. It's because I don't want to ruin it. And I mean, I've destroyed so many shirts, and I just get cheap t-shirts, and that's what I wear to work. So I'm just still wearing the same things at work, just with the sports bra underneath. And again, nobody's saying anything. I'm just whatever, continuing going about my day. I did have one coworker because the department I worked in, I single-handedly ran for a while because I had two guys drop dead on me. One died, and then another guy came in, and he died, and then we had a few other people come through, and finally I get this one dude who, up till recently, thought was my friend. When people tell you who they are, you listen. Even if they've been nice to you, you still listen to them when they tell you who they are. Anyways, back on the path. And I did kind of come out to him a little bit and say, because like he basically said to me, Charlie, what the hell are you? I'm like, okay, we've shared a lot of stuff with each other because we work right alongside each other. Some of those conversations kind of went into oversharing, both on my part and on his. So I'm like, okay, well, hey, I've been on HRT for at this point a year and a half, and he was like, okay, whatever. And then like he did ask a lot of super, super, super personal questions, and then like for my own amusement, I'd answer them like honestly, and they'd be like, "Oh man, now I need a cigarette," because like it was a bit too heavy subject matter for him. Just why ask the questions if you don't want the answer? So moving on, we're getting up on me being on HRT about 2.5 years. It's getting right before I leave. There's some banter going on between me, my coworker, and the new guy. And long story short, um, the new guy finds out what exactly I am and says to me, "Oh, sorry, I'm dropping things here because I have a fidget." New guy says to me, "So, the guys in the main shop were telling me you're a woman who's trying to be a man." That threw me aback because the thing is, do I tell these guys, well, actually, do I tell them I'm just a woman? Do I tell them, well, actually, I'm not, I'm just a woman, or I guess you could say I was a woman trying to be a man before I started an HRT, because let's face it, if you're trans, you're a transgender woman, you've been a woman all along, at least up here, you've always been. So I just, I was like, that's kind of weird, but pun absolutely not intended, I set him straight on who and what exactly I am. And he was like, oh, hey, that's cool. I mean, he was a 20-year-old kid. The younger generation kind of knows about this stuff and like probably grew up and like around it, learned a little bit about it, probably as friends that are trans, whatever. Maybe moved, I don't know. But he was cool. He's like, okay, whatever, kind of didn't care really. So I know I'm focusing mostly on my work because that's really a lot of what I had going on back then, because I was working so many hours. But in November 2024, of course, that's when Trump got elected president, and that's when I finally made my decision. I'm like, look, we're moving. We're getting the hell out of Florida, because my fear was that if I remained in Florida, something bad could have happened to me. And I wanted to be in a blue state. I wanted to be in an area where, people are a lot more accepting, where the laws allow me to be who I am, where I can much more easily have access to my hormone replacement, because I was having trouble getting it then. just because of where I lived and also how the laws had changed in Florida. And I don't want to live in Florida anymore. So we sold my parents' house. I sold my dad's motorcycle. I moved up here with cars, with my 2 project cars, my dad's Thunderbird that I inherited, my Volkswagen Beetle, my Dodge Dakota. That's my daily driver. Yeah, this move cost me a lot of money. But I also sold a house. So yeah, I moved up to Washington State. It's where I've been living for the last year. And I gotta say, I like it here. I really do. I can unapologetically just be me, whether it be at work, out in public places, I'm just me. I'm just living my life. I'm happy. I can just be me. Back in January, I went and got my name legally changed. If you haven't been keeping up on me on other social media, you probably already know what that name is. But yeah, I legally changed my name to Charlize Furiosa Steele. Now, does that mean I'm a big fan of Charlize Theron? Kinda. I didn't intentionally name myself after her. What it was is I wanted my mom to still be able to call me Charlie, even though she died back in 2017. I made my decision on the name about a year or so before that. And the thing is, like, I tried to come out to my mom, and she just kept, and maybe she knew her time was up. She kept telling me, "Wait till I die." Like that stung. That hurt. And I absolutely, honestly believe that if my mom was still alive today, and saw me transitioning, saw who I've become or who I've allowed myself to be. It's not who I've become; it's who I've allowed myself to be. Person I've been all along. I think she would have come around. I really do. I used to always remind her, hey, you always wanted a daughter. And she'd always say back to me, not like this. Not like this. But I'm much happier. At least that's really a lot of what's been going on the last years is me working a lot and then me needing to get out of Florida. And I've been living up here in Washington for a little over a year now, and I love it. I love it. I actually like the weather up here. It's beautiful up here. I mean, it is just so beautiful. And that, like, when I first got into Washington, I kid you not, they were putting a transgender flag up at the Tacoma Dome. I live just outside Tacoma. But yeah, they were putting up a transgender flag at the Tacoma Dome. And I'm like, oh, they're welcoming me. No, it was really a transgender day of visibility, but still, the fact that they were doing that was just like, But yeah, I feel good. I'm happy. Also, if you used to follow me on TikTok, you may know something else is new on my face. That being these choppers here. Yeah, I finally got my teeth fixed. And like for most people who are transgender, getting their mouth fixed ain't part of their transition. It's always they want to get breast implants, or they want to get FFS, or they want to get downstairs surgery. And me, when I was coming up here and thinking, oh, I can finally do I can finally do everything. I can finally, get myself fixed. Like, all that was on my mind is I can get my mouth fixed. Because up until yesterday, I had a good job. I had pretty decent insurance. So I went and got all this taken care of. I'm happy I did. I feel a lot better. I'm much happier now. But yeah, I just wanted to get caught up to date on what I've been up to, why I've been gone so long. It's mostly because I've been working so much, and I kind of didn't know what to do with my YouTube channel. I there's a lot of stuff I was really soured on talking about, and there was a lot of stuff that, like, some of my views have changed. It's why I deleted a lot of my videos. There's a lot of viewpoints I had years ago that I don't want to be associated with. I mean, I'm sure somebody will use it, has a copy of it, and they'll use it against me at some date in the future. I don't care. I've grown, I've changed, I've allowed myself to be myself, and I'm so much happier. Moving forward, I do want to start talking about more of my experiences with transition, because, like, that story I told you about my coworkers, there's a lot more to that story. And I don't even know if I could tell it on YouTube because it's a lot of it's like what falls into the vein of like locker room talk. It's bad. It's bad. I'm gonna try to find a relatively clean, like YouTube friendly way of telling that story, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm in a lot better place, and like at the job that I just left, I was out as transgender there, and when I got my name legally changed, everybody got on board with, okay, that's her name, and that's a girl. Like, nobody even, like, they were misgendering me a little bit. A few of the guys were before I changed my name. And then once I changed my name, it's like, okay, you're Charlize. Um, and like I said, they were getting my pronouns right. They were, and I think even some of the guys kind of treated me more like I was a girl even then. And that felt good. That really felt good. And there was a young woman working there, and me and her kind of got to be friends. In fact, I really wish I could have exchanged contact information with her before we left, because it was nice to work with another woman. I mean, I know I'm. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's being the only woman in the shop, especially when you're trans. It's just it doesn't feel right. I feel like such an outsider. At least having somebody else there, that I could talk to, that I could vibe with. Just it felt good. And hopefully wherever I move on to, I can find somebody like that to that I work with. If not, then I just keep it to myself, like I've done every other job. But no, I think I babbled long enough. I think I've got you caught up for long enough, and I'm just gonna let this go. And yeah, but thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. There's plenty more to come. There's plenty more stories I want to tell. And I will see you later. Bye. Love you much.